The economy added just 57,000 jobs in the month of June. That comes in at half the expected number, which was 115,000. We're going to dig deeper into those numbers in just a bit. But as we come on the air today, we're asking the question again, is this White House for sale? Why? Because there's new reporting from my MS Now colleague, Akayla Gardner, showing that President Trump's two eldest sons, Don Jr. and Eric, are linked to investments in defense firms that have drawn billions of dollars in federal funds, according to a review of public records. Spokesperson for the Trump brothers say they play no role in awarding or managing those government contracts. We also want to note that the Wall Street Journal has reported that just before Trump's inauguration, representatives for UAE Royal signed a secret deal with Trump's family to invest $500 million in its crypto venture, World Liberty Financial. Months later, the UAE secured access to crucial American-made AI chips that they did not have access to before. A White House spokesperson told the Journal that Trump only acts in the best interests of the American public and that there are no conflicts of interest. This all comes as we are learning more about Trump's massive $2 billion windfall during his first year in office. The vast majority of that money came from crypto and real estate deals. All that cash had to come from somewhere. And as the New York Times points out, while Trump made more than $1 billion in crypto, more than 750,000 crypto wallets lost money buying Trump's meme coin, which experts have said from the beginning essentially has no economic value. Yesterday, the president shrugged off criticism that he's profiting off the presidency, saying that he is not involved in his personal finance and he's only making money because the stock market is doing so well. And that criticism is even coming from the Rupert Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal. The editorial board writes that, quote, the Trump clan is cashing in on the presidency in big and sketchy ways. I'm not paraphrasing. That is a direct quote. Now, remember, I want to hear from you. What questions do you have? It could be about Trump's massive windfall. It could be about today's jobs report. It could be about these upcoming elections. Whatever you want. Scan the code on your screen. Send us your questions. We're going to try to get to them later in the program. Remember, this show works if you join us. With that, let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off panel. Akayla Gardner, the reporter I was just talking about, is here. MS Now White House correspondent. Peter Baker, chief White House correspondent for the New York Times. Dave Weigel, political reporter for Semaphore. And MS Now political analyst Kimberly Atkins-Storr. She's a columnist for the Boston Globe and writer of the Supreme Court newsletter, The Gavel. Okay, Akayla, we've got to start with your reporting on these defense contracts and the president's eldest sons. How many companies are they now connected to, and how much money are we talking about?
Yeah, so the president's two oldest sons are connected to about 10 companies. Half of these they have direct investments in, and the other half are companies that Donald Trump Jr. has exposure to through 1789 Capital, a firm that he served as a partner at. And it's very much an America First firm, company, and they align themselves with the president's movement. But I think what's really important about this story is the fact that the Defense Department has the largest budget in the world. It's $1 trillion. And the fact that the president's sons are connected to some of these companies which span drones, robotics, AI, it really undermines public confidence that this money is going to companies that are most deserving of it. And we found that 3 of these companies have seen record levels of funding under President Trump's second term, and some of them had no contracts before President Trump's second term.
Geez Louise, Peter, how do we wrap our heads around whether it's Akayla's reporting or just the massive amounts of cash flowing directly into this Oval Office?
Well, we've never seen anything like this in history. We've never seen the kind of money, the scale, the scope of the profiteering off of the Oval Office that we're seeing now. Other presidents and their families at times, of course, have had, relatively modest by comparison, conflicts of interest, right? We go back in history. We can find plenty of examples. Most recently, Hunter Biden, which, of course, the Trumps made such a big deal out of. Hunter got a few $1 million from Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company. Here we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars really going into the Trump family coffers and the coffers of his friends and their families. And it's not even, it's not even subtle. There's nothing small about it. And I think that as a matter of appearances, at the very least, people are going to ask the question, why is the president getting so rich when everybody else is having so much trouble affording the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of groceries, and so on?
Kim, back in January, the president told the New York Times, when it comes to conflicts of interest, this is a direct quote, I found that nobody cared. He said nobody cared, but it feels like every day there's another headline, right? Last year, there was just one random day when the president bought $5 million worth of stock in major tech companies. On the very same day, he announced an AI action plan that would help those very companies. He thinks people don't care about that?
Yeah, well, I think what he really means is that he doesn't care. I mean, if you look at the first term, the issue of conflict of interest, it's like he dipped his toe into it and nothing was done about it. When foreign nationals stayed at his Trump hotel, which existed then in Washington, D.C., to curry favor for him, he essentially got away with it. So now he is doing the absolute most. He doesn't care about it because he's making money, just the same way he said he didn't care about an affordable housing bill that is desperately needed given the downturn in the economy and the way that Americans are hurting at this point. It's like the Gilded Age on steroids. We are seeing the president, his family, and those close to him, his billionaire buddies, making more and more money. And we are seeing the American people, even those who support him and bought his little meme coin, losing money while he gets richer and richer. I think the American people cannot help but at the very least notice it, and at the most care very much about it.
Dave, meanwhile, these Republicans now have to go home to their home districts and campaign. And we've already heard some of them pull I haven't read the reporting thing yet. James Comer even said how great it was that Trump openly disclosed this massive financial gain, forgetting the fact that Trump didn't have a choice. He has to disclose it. Are they ready for what their voters are going to tell them when they go home?
Depends on who their voters are. In James Comer's district, that is the position. Republicans have this armor around the president, Republican voters, I should say, where he can do no wrong, where maybe he's enriching himself, but he's also jawboning companies to get stakes in them, or to put money into Trump accounts. And they have a heuristic for all this, that a certain level of graft is fine for the president because he's earned it, and he's trying to get money for us, too. Now, in all the races that are competitive, corruption is a big issue, litigated very differently than the way the president talks about his funding. You find candidates around the country who have made some kind of investments, have some sort of stock trades, also public, also disclosed, because that's the law, and it's a scandal every time. I've been talking to Democratic strategists. They have struggled to break through in some of these races because a lot of people say, sure, Trump's taking this money, Trump's benefiting, but Nancy Pelosi's a stock trader too. And there's a lot of work being done in these races to convince people that they are personally quite pure in a way that their opponents are not, in the way that the president is not. But there is a lot of cynicism that they're fighting back against. The idea that, well, all politicians do this. I think Peter set it up very well. This is unprecedented. We don't have presidents who do this. We don't expect people we elect, a governor or mayor, to enrich themselves off the office. Why can't Democrats make a bigger issue of it? In some races they can, but they're breaking through this sense that everybody in politics does it, which isn't true.
But it's also why we're seeing, Dave, this anti-incumbent movement from voters who are saying, I'm sick of all of this. It's not working for me. Kayla, Trump is basically brushing off all of these stories about his finances. He clearly thinks this is going to go away quickly and quietly. And that's the game Trump 1.0 played. I remember covering Trump in his first term, and the White House would laugh when they would be dealing with some big, horrible, embarrassing story. They would say, just wait 24 hours. There'll be a new story. Is the White House banking on that again?
Totally. I think when you talk to the president, when you talk to his allies, many of them feel as though the president and his family has a right to make money. Many of them point to the fact that voters liked the fact that Donald Trump was a businessman. But the backdrop of this is the economy, and how voters feel about the economy is really awful. And we've talked to Trump voters around the country who feel as though the president did not live up to some of the promises that he made on the campaign trail. I think that's why the contrast is so different. And also, compared to Trump's first term, we've seen the president's sons really take off some of the guardrails and some of the self-imposed restrictions, and they have complained that they got little credit for doing that in the first term. And it seems in President Trump's second term, even though it would be politically smart for him to step back from some of these investments and his family, they really don't feel the need to do that.
Peter, we have a viewer question coming to us from Laura saying, if the president has made all this money, why can't he pay for his own vanity projects? Why charge the American people? Now, the president has said over and over with many of these projects, specifically the ballroom and others, I'm going to be paying for it. He said it with a small walkway that's just outside the Oval Office. Isn't that a fair question? He keeps saying he's going to pay for it. He doesn't pay for it. He charges the American people, and then he goes and is making billions of dollars for himself.
Yeah, he almost never pays for it. I mean, the truth is, if you go back to his history, this is very common. He had a foundation that was supposed to be charitable and that in fact was used to you know, for his own projects, for his own interests and so forth, had to be shut down by regulators because they said it was basically not a genuine charity. It was just to serve his own interests. This is not new for him in that sense. Why would he pay for something that he doesn't have to pay for? This is how you get rich, by not paying for things like that. But he does tell people that, and only later when good reporters like Michaela say, go find the documents and look through the records and discover that in fact actually there are you know, bills being sent to taxpayers. The government is picking up the cost that he said that they wouldn't pick up. Not that he ever advertises it, but in fact, all these different projects in one fashion or another, many of them anyway, are costing the taxpayers hundreds, if not billions of dollars.